hopefully you're fastening your seatbelts for the next 2 hours.
Right.
That's nonsense, Clint. I'm not buying it. I'm sorry.
I don't care what you buy.
That's nonsense.
My feeling.
You're not just buying a racetrack. You're buying a piece of American racing history right there. I mean, that's huge. The history behind the track, just mind-boggling.
You hear a lot of rumors in the rumor mill. I'll just keep tuning in to you guys to hear the truth when we come down to it. So
don't do that. I've already had one dose of tin hat syndrome today. I don't need a second one.
Stuart Friesen said to Brett, he says, "Why don't you bring us to more places like this?" And Brett goes, "There isn't any other place like this."
Race fans, it's time to throw it up on the cushion and get dirty. Coming to you live from the Finger Lakes and Southern Tier, it's time for Turn 5 Live. Now, your hosts of Turn 5 Live, Steve Ovens, Clint Miller, and Brad Ovens.
Yes! Yeah! Race fans, it's time to go, man. I'm up on the chip tonight. Welcome aboard Turn 5 Live here on the Performance Motorsports Network. Steve Ovens, Clint Miller, Brad Ovens joining you here as we do each and every Tuesday night at 7:30 right here on PMN. Going to bring in Clint Miller, race mechanic, co-host of Turn 5 Live. My friend, I'll tell you what, this is a great week for many reasons, most of which have to do with racing.
Oh, yeah, it's, for anybody that follows, there's been all sorts of nationals races going down to Volusia Park in Florida, East Bay, Bubba Raceway Park, all sorts of going on. And honestly, Steve, I don't know this race monitor thing is amazing. I feel like I'm almost right there without the smell and the dirt and the actual cars.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you other than having a ticket to be there, what more could you really ask for?
Yeah, I mean, because even if you're there, you don't have the timing like, okay, leader's running this lap, fifth place is running this lap, and the gaps and stuff like that. So there is a little more to it when you're sitting here watching Race Monitor as opposed to being there.
Going to bring in Brad Ovens here, co-host on the show and safety crew member at Outlaw Speedway. Brad, welcome aboard. It's a good weekend to be following dirt.
Yeah, it is. There's no better time of year than when the dirt starts to fly and the rubber hits the pavement.
Well, the rubber hits the pavement to get you to the dirt track.
To get to the track, that's right.
Yeah. You know what? Racing's racing, and we've seen a lot of good racing so far and more to come. Well,
I want to welcome everybody aboard. Again, my name is Steve Ovens, host of Turn 5 Live and contributing writer to both RaceChaserOnline.com. And as of this week, gentlemen, I'm going to be contributing an article a week over to the Morning Times in Sarah, Pennsylvania, just because, I didn't feel like I had enough to do trying to manage this show and two racetracks on the weekend. So going to be a fun summer. Don't know if my wife thinks it's going to be a fun summer, but, anytime that we can talk about racing, we're certainly having a good time. Gentlemen, let's get to some news right off the top of the show, and I'll give you a quick rundown as to what we've got coming up on the program tonight. We have just been loading these shows up with interviews. Information overload is how we termed it this afternoon. And really, I love these shows, Clint, because we can get so many guests on here getting pumped up, getting amped up for their season, whether they race modifieds, street stocks, four cylinders, micro sprints, dirt modified, you name it. 360 sprint cars, we got it all here. And so tonight we've got Joe Tranka is going to join us at 7:45. He'll be joining us in our next segment. Eric Wright, we had him on here about a month and a half ago talking about the Rebel Outlaws, the micro sprints utilizing the snowmobile engines. He's going to come on board tonight and talk to us a little bit. He's going to kind of give us a little peek into some R&D that he's been doing with the Rebel Outlaws here in the off season. And, Clint, this was a great interview from a month and a half ago. We're bringing him back on tonight, and I'm looking forward to it because he brings it down to the level where, you can not just go and watch these cars race, but you can actually get into it yourself.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I don't know the correct term of it, but he definitely makes you understand what's going on, what what you got to do and to make it work. And I he was a great interview a month and a half ago, and I can't wait to hear him again tonight.
So we got Eric coming up at 8 o'clock tonight. Then coming up at 8:30, taking a swing at one here, we're going to be talking with Jerry Simons at 8:30 tonight. Longtime staff member at the Woodhull Raceway. You want to talk about a guy who truly has done it all at Woodhull. You name a track position, this guy has done it. And, for somebody like myself who's coming into Woodhull full time for the first season, this coming season, this is the kind of guy that I turn to say, okay, give me an idea. How does this place run on a weekly Saturday night basis? Who's the players? Who's the people to know? What are the things to know about those people? And I thought this was just a great opportunity to bring Jerry on tonight to talk history and his role with Woodhull over the years. He actually picked up an award at their off-season banquet, Dedication to Motorsports Award. And from everybody that I talked to, and even in the brief conversations with Jerry that I've had myself in the past, I could understand why a guy like Jerry will get the Dedication to Motorsports Award. So we're going to talk to him at 8:30 tonight. Looking forward to that. And then at 9 o'clock, a guy that we tried to catch up with at the Black Rock Speedway, now called Outlaw Speedway, season-ending banquet, Doug Smith, going to join us on the hotline tonight. Weather's been iffy out in your guys' neck of the woods. We've got a little bit of it down here in Horseheads, but you guys have been getting some pretty gnarly weather, and because of that gnarly weather, Doug Smith's bowling night tonight got canceled, so he's going to join us live at 9 o'clock tonight. Brad, talk to us a little bit about some of the weather up your guys' way. I understand you guys have just been getting pounded with a little bit of everything from Mother Nature.
Yeah, we have. They were calling for a lot more snow than what we actually got, but it kind of did what I expected it to with the forecast that we had. They were calling for 4 to 8 inches of snow, followed by some rain, followed by some more snow. And with the warmer temperatures, I think we got a little bit of snow, but when that rain and the freezing rain started to hit, it really packed the snow down and really just turned it into that wet, heavy, what we used to call out on the ambulance days, used to call it the heart attack snow. People having heart attacks trying to shovel the wet, heavy, thick snow. So we have a lot of that, but there's only maybe about 1.5 inches of it right here in Penn Yan in the Dundee area. But I guess it was a real fine line. You drive about 30 minutes northwest of us up towards Rochester, and it goes from 2 to 3 inches to about 13 inches in about a matter of a couple miles. So it was a pretty intense snowstorm for our area, but it really stayed out west of us.
And, we talk about some other things that are coming up this week. Guys, it just happened to stumble across some information, and I saw this on Race New York a couple days ago. This will probably be something we come back to talk later on in the show, but it sounds like there's some issues with the sale of the Race of Champions. I don't know if you guys happen to catch this over the internet the last couple of days, but it sounds like there's been some kind of stumble between the new management and owner of the Race of Champions, Joe Scott-Nicky, and as well as Andy Harpel, the former owner of the series. And guys, it sounds like things have kind of taken a turn for the worse, as they're now, there's been some disagreements about different portions of the sale that either were supposed to take place or haven't taken place, or so it's going to be interesting to see what happens here, guys. But Clint, the thing that and I don't know if you've had a chance to see this or not. A lot of this came out today, but it sounds like if they can't get these things resolved, that this might end up in court. And boy, if it ends up in court, it makes you wonder how long it's going to last through the season.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen this, Steve. This is the first that the first that I've heard about it. But yeah, I mean, like you said, if it gets drug out into the court system, it could take months, maybe even longer. You know, you got to think, and you know, and I hate to see it for the ROC and Andy Harpel and Scott Nicky, but you know, guys like, you know, Brett Dale, not anything that he's going to do, but a guy like him can thrive off of that.
Sure. Some other news that came out this week, Outlaw Speedway is going to have a modified bonus for the driver with the most wins. I think we may have had this info last week about that $500 bonus for those guys. And then HigFab Chassis has come on board. They are donating a chassis to the Crate Sportsman division. Originally, it was going to be a random draw throughout the top 10 in the finishing points, but I understand that that's exactly how they do it at 5 Mile Point. So in trying to switch things up and do something that you haven't seen before, which it sounds like, guys, is going to be a running theme at Outlaw Speedway this year, they want to do something different. So track owner Tyler Seary, Jerry Higbee from HigFab Chassis going to be getting together to try and come up with a unique way. And I know the fans have really chimed in on that, and both drivers and fans, and they certainly appreciate that feedback. You know, I've seen a lot of guys say that if you make 90% of the races during the season, that you get an entry into the drawing at the awards banquet. So it'll be interesting to see what they land on for that. It's going to be unique, regardless of what they decide to go with. But round of applause to Jerry Higbee and HigFab Chassis for coming on in such a big way. And guys, Clint, before we hit the break here, you know, real quick, if you can pick up a chassis like that in an awards banquet, you know, that could take a top 10 car and make them a top 5 and a winning car. Oh,
very easy. I mean, because, you know, that guy that might be running 8th, 9th, 10th in points might have a chassis that's, you know, 6, 7, 8 years old. You know, they are out there. So it's very possible that could happen.
Absolutely. Well, guys, we're going to step aside here. We're going to go to break. When we come back, we've got Joe Trenka going to talk to us about his sprint car schedule for 2016. We'll talk to the Salt City Outlaw next here on Turn 5 Live on the Performance Motorsports Network, the voice of motorsports.
You hear that? That's the sound of America's only sports car. That's right. It's a Corvette. But not just any Corvette. It's your Corvette. It's that who cares if there's traffic part of your day. And this can be you when you come to Cooper Corvettes. With 60 years of Corvettes to choose from, there's always a Corvette in your budget. And they'll service any Corvette you bring in. Cooper Corvettes on Route 1 just north of Quantico and Triangle. Call, click, or visit CooperCorvettes.com.
Hi, this is Jens Scott from Summit Point Kart in Summit Point, West Virginia. If you're looking for a real racing experience on a real racetrack, come out to Summit Point Kart this weekend. For as little as $25, you can get your racing career started. New this year, Summit Point Kart offers the RX 250 capable of over 75 miles an hour. We're open every Friday from 5 p.m. till 9 p.m., Saturday from noon till 10 p.m., and Sunday from noon till 9 p.m. For more information, go to our website, summitpointkartwithak.com, or you can call us at 304-725-5270. Summit Point Kart, your East Coast karting center.
In the race of everyday life, it's nice to have the green flag, but drivetrain problems are the pits. A fully remanufactured engine, transmission, or differential from Jasper Engines and Transmissions costs less than a new vehicle and comes with a 3-year, 100,000-mile nationwide transferable warranty. See JasperEngines.com for details and get the green flag in your race of everyday life.
See the boys at Chandler & Sons Automotive, 45977 Old Ox Road in Sterling. Give them a call, 703-437-7300.
Creekside Entertainment is the official DJ, photo booth, and uplighting company of Turn 5 Live on the Performance Motorsports Network. Stuart Evans and his staff at Creekside Entertainment are professional and experienced with events of any type. Creekside Entertainment specializes in wedding packages that are affordable and fun, and they are ready to serve you with the most up-to-date music and karaoke selection. If you can sing it in the shower, you can come out and sing it with Creekside Entertainment.
Don't forget about the Creekside Entertainment photo booth and uplighting service
that will transform your wedding or party into an event the family will be talking about for years. Trust the entertainment company the racers trust. Call Stu at 315-481-9700 or visit them online at creeksideentertainmentdj.com. You can also find them on Facebook and Twitter. Creekside Entertainment, the division sponsor of the Black Rock Bandits in 2015.
How would you like to win a brand new Corvette? Larry O's got all the details.
WinYourNewCar.com. Enter America's #1 dream car giveaway contest at WinYourNewCar.com. Complete the puzzle the fastest and win a new Corvette tax-free. Come on, stop dreaming, start driving with WinYourNewCar.com.
Hi, race fans. This is Kelly Hebing, and you're listening to Turn 5 Live on PMN.
Welcome back, race fans. Turn 5 Live here on the Performance Motorsports Network. Steve Ovens, Clint Miller, Brad Ovens joining you on the program tonight. Going off to the hotline to bring in our first guest of the night, the Salt City Outlaw, Joe Trenka, joining us from out in the Syracuse area. Joe, welcome aboard.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Hey, man, talk to us about your past season, 2015. You know, the interesting part about following you and your racing endeavors is you guys do just a little bit of everything, and you guys are really fun to watch.
Yeah, thank you. We tried running as many times as we could, kind of all over last year, and it was a lot of fun. You know, I mean, it's definitely tough and grueling, and there's a lot of hard times, but there's just as many good times. And we had a lot of fun doing it. We ran, I think, I don't know, a little bit over 40 races last year. We had like 55 on the schedule. Just rainouts just kind of killed us. But we dabbled in some 410 stuff last year, which was really good. We got some good experience with the Outlaws. Ran one with the All-Stars there at Canandaigua. So we picked up top 5 in time trials up for Schweigen with the Outlaws. We had Hard Charger with them at Roll Wheels. And it was really cool running with them. They're a really good group to run for, and you definitely learn a lot about racing with them. And our 360 portion, we kind of ran mainly that last year with just a little bit of 410 stuff. But we ran URC, we ran the Patriot Tour and ESS Tour. So we were definitely all around. But that elusive win is still haunting us. We had a couple shots at it last year, running in the top 2, top 3 a couple nights, and just couldn't get the job done. Just had to work a little bit harder, get the car a little bit better. But we had a new crew chief last year, Bob from Pennsylvania, and he really helped our program out a lot. Me and him gelled right from the beginning, and it was a good season. We learned a lot, and we knew what we had to get for this year to put a pretty good package together, and we're excited for this year.
What is the biggest thing that Bob has brought on with you to step up your guys' program?
Well, I mean, Bob's a 410 guy. He helped Steve Buckwalter for a while down in Pennsylvania, and he raced for a while himself and was very successful at it. But he's a real good driver coach because he was a driver too, so he could kind of relate to me very well. And he's just really good with the cars. I mean, he doesn't make a lot of changes, and if he does, they're small changes, which I like a lot. And he's kind of, from him driving and watching me, he's kind of taught me a few tricks, what to do, what not to do, when to do it, when not to do it, that really helped me driving-wise. And he also taught us a lot about the cars and kind of shocks. He's helped us out with a lot, and just little things that you don't really think about but make a big difference.
Now, Joe, you talk about that chemistry and that you guys gelled, right from the get-go. Some sprint car drivers, it just amazes me because there's some drivers out there that they have such a rapport with their crew that sometimes the driver doesn't even have input on changes they're going to make for the feature. With you, you still growing as a driver and trying to learn as much as you can, I imagine that you probably have a little bit more input on that setup because, a couple years into this thing, there's still a lot of things that you guys can learn.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we got a great crew underneath us, and I'm very appreciative for that. I mean, we got a good core group of guys that are there day in, day out, late nights at the shop and early mornings getting stuff ready. So that's always good to have. it's hard to find good help and guys that can be there all the time. So we're definitely appreciative for our crew. But, yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of times I've came in and kind of told Bob or some of the other crew guys what I was thinking that we needed, and Bob he agreed, but he also said, well, why don't we try this instead to see if this works a little bit better. And 90% of the time, probably 95% of the time, it's worked in his favor. So he showed me kind of what I'm feeling. Sometimes might not be what I want to do be the right decision, but I still do have some input. But normally I've had a lot of trust in Bob, and I know every time I hit the track that he's going to give 110% to make sure the car is as good as it can get.
Was there a race last year that stood out to you above the rest? Was it, maybe you talked about that qualifying run at Ashweekend, or was there a race that, like you said, you had a couple of close calls knocking on the door for wins, but was there one out of all those that stood out and said, man, this was our race of the year?
Yeah, I mean, there was a couple that we all night we ran good, and we were a contender all night, and there was probably 3 or 4 nights like that. And probably the 360 side, probably Big Diamond with the RC. I mean, we won our heat race, and I pulled the inversion fill was 0, so I started pole of the feature, and we led I think the first 7 or 8 laps I think it was, and we got past, and we got into lap traffic, and track slickened off, which we were hoping it was going to be slick from the beginning, but they did some track prep without us knowing. So once it slickened off, we reeled the leader back in, and we got in lap traffic, and we were really good in lap traffic, and he really wasn't that good in dirty air. So we were able to get with them there, and we just kind of jingle with a lap car, and next thing you know, you're back to third, and the race is over. So, I mean, I felt like that was one that kind of gave away just because just a little bit misreading the track and just some unfortunate with the lap car. But, I mean, that's all part of it. Everyone's got to go through lap traffic. We didn't hang our heads about that night. We were excited, ready for the next night. We thought that we found something. So definitely that kind of stood out to us because we felt we should have won that one. But I guess you got to lose them first that way to win them.
Well, that's what they say anyway. Talk about 2016. You guys looking at, a good mix of races like you guys had last season?
Yeah, we're going to probably do the opposite of what we did last year. We're going to run mainly 410 stuff this year with probably about 20 360 races thrown in there. Going to try to run 55, maybe 60 shows this year. And we're going to run Waynes Grove and Lincoln probably about 9 times this year, like on their on their weekend event. Going to try to run the National Open this year. Going to do speed weeks again up here with the 360, and we're going to kind of pick and choose with the 360 where we want to go, the tracks that we have fun at, the tracks that we like, and just kind of bounce all around, just kind of like we've been doing in past years, just a little bit more with the 410 stuff.
Any tracks that you have on the list that you haven't crossed off that you'd still like to cross off?
I'm trying to think. I don't really think so. We've been to, I've never been to Waynes Grove in 410 or Lincoln in 410, so I guess that'll be different. I mean, you go down to Waynes Grove, or I should say PA, any weekend, it's going to be tough. So I definitely think the 410s down there are going to help us and be able to learn and maybe take some knowledge and stuff we learned down there to maybe apply it to some 360 stuff. I'm not sure, but definitely just going to the Grove and Lincoln and stuff like that. That'll definitely be cool just because there's such a historic track and the guys you run against. And, it's just going to be really cool running down there.
It seems like those are the kind of places that when you walk in the gates, you're walking into something special.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you walk into Waynes Grove or even pull in with the hauler and you see that big, old, rusty blue bridge there, and you just know that it's just something special.
Joe, talk to us about some of the folks that help you guys out, keep you out on track. I've seen the pictures on social media of you guys getting everything prepared for this season.
Yeah, we got a lot of guys behind us that are helping us out, and I appreciate that very much. Schoenfeld headers, Weld racing wheels, Donat motor engines. Shell Shock does my helmets, does a great job with them. FK rod ends, Willwood brakes. Butler Seating, Mike Emoff Motorsports. They help us out with our parts and the products and stuff like that. That really help us out, and we got guys that help us out to keep us out on the road, like you said. Fast Axle, Seals It, National Parts Peddler, Mid-Country Machinery. So, I mean, there's definitely a lot of guys that help us, and we appreciate that, and we couldn't do it without them.
Tell us a little bit, you guys are going to be out doing a little more 410 stuff this year. Is that kind of, what the trajectory is going to continue to be? Is eventually would you like to be doing all 410 stuff, or are you happy with the mix?
Right now, I still really like the mix. I really like running with the URC group and the Patriots and the SS. I mean, we've made a lot of friends and host family basically with those groups. And I mean, there's a lot of tracks this year that one of those 3 series are going to that I'd like to go to just because I like going and hanging out and having fun at the track with them guys and stuff. But we just feel like the 410's a little bit better avenue. The payouts are a little better, and I mean, we all know it's not cheap, and when there's a little bit better payout, that always helps. So, yeah, maybe next year, 2 years, 3 years down the road, we'd like to be running all 410 stuff. But we got a good motor program for this year, and we're going to try the 410 stuff out. And if that works out, then I don't know. Hope maybe next year we'll be running all 410 stuff. But we'll still always keep a 360 motor just to have, and because it's hard to pass up tracks like Brewerton and stuff like that, which are 10 minutes on the track. I mean, it's really hard to pass those up, and especially, I mean, traveling's not cheap, so when you can throw a 360 race in there that's really local and close, and my family can come out too, it's hard to pass stuff like that up.
Well, Joe, good luck this season. Looking forward to following you guys as always, and always a treat for us to get to catch up with you here in the off season.
Yes, thanks for having me on the show. I appreciate it.
All right, that's Joe Trenka, the Salt City Outlaw, joining us on the hotline, talking 360 410 sprint cars. You can follow those guys on social media, follow them on Facebook and Twitter, and catch up on all of their racing schedules for the 2016 season. Got a lot more coming up. We got Eric Wright from the Rebel Outlaws coming up next, going to talk a little micro sprint racing. We'll go from 410s to micros next here on Turn 5 Live on the Performance Motorsports Network, the voice of motorsports.
Max Dairy Bar is a proud supporter of Turn 5 Live and the Performance Motorsports Network. Opened in 1974, Max Dairy Bar has been a Penn Yan, Cayuga Lake, and Yates County staple, serving the best Hershey's hard ice cream. They also have soft serve ice cream, their weekly yogurt special, sorbet flavors, gluten-free options, frozen Greek yogurt, and non-dairy lemon ice. Don't forget about their tricky 18-hole putt-putt course that will test your skill to see if you have what it takes to be a champion. Max Dairy Bar and Mini Golf, located on State Route 14A, just south of the village of Penn Yan, right on the way to Black Rock Speedway on Friday nights. Visit them online at www.maxdairybar.com or Max Dairy Bar on Facebook and Twitter. Stop by Max Dairy Bar and tell them Turn 5 Live sent you.
We're growing like crazy and need account reps who know their way around agencies, the internet, and social media. Got connections? Or do you know how to get to the decision makers? Are you fearless? We need you. Internet radio, or as we call it, wireless mobile radio, is rapidly becoming the place to be with almost limitless income potential. So contact us to get involved with the fastest growing professionally produced group of internet radio stations in the world. Your imagination is the only limit here. Call 717-749-0444. That's 717-749-0444. Or you can email us at scorpionradiogroup@gmail.com. You want to ask for Sue.
Creekside Entertainment is the official DJ, photo booth, and uplighting company of Turn 5 Live and the Performance Motorsports Network. Stuart Ovens and his staff at Creekside Entertainment are professional and experienced with events of any type. Creekside Entertainment specializes in wedding packages that are affordable and fun, and they are ready to serve you with the most up-to-date music and karaoke selection. If you can sing it in the shower, you can come out and sing it with Creekside Entertainment. And don't forget about the Creekside Entertainment photo booth and uplighting service that will transform your wedding or party into an event the family will be talking about for years. Trust, the entertainment company that racers trust. Call Stu at area code 315-481-9700 or visit them online at creeksideentertainmentdj.com. You can also find them on Facebook and Twitter. Creekside Entertainment, division sponsor of the Black Rock Bandits in 2015.
Hi, race fans. This is Nick Cooper, and you're listening to Turn 5 Live on PMN.
Nick Cooper bringing us back from commercial break here on Turn 5 Live on PMN. Stephen Ovens, Brad Ovens, Clint Miller joining you on the program tonight. And Clint, Joe Tranka. I'm going to run a little bit of everything this season. And, one thing that I'm sure they have on their schedule, or at least I'm sure a lot of 360 guys do anyway, is that big 3-race championship coming up in July.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that's kind of the coup de grace of sprint car speed weeks, and it's that's what everybody looks forward to. If you got a 360 and you're not there, you're behind.
Well, Clint, talking about looking forward to things, looking forward to this interview here, we bring on Eric Wright from the Rebel Outlaws, joining us on Turn 5 Live for the second time. Eric, appreciate the time as always, my friend.
Hey, good evening. Good to hear you again.
Yeah, absolutely. So I wanted to, we wanted to bring you on again, and I know that the last time we talked, you were talking about doing some R&D things, and of course, we've been following on social media. That's how we are able to get so much information from all these different areas of racing. But as you get ready for the season, what are some of the things you guys got cooking up?
Yeah, that's right. You got to love the social media and the Facebook and the world at our fingertips. You can learn and discover a lot and keep up and follow. Man, we're cooking up an amazing season this year. I've got just a list of stuff in front of me here. At this point, if you're a racer and this is what you make your life to be and you love to do, this season is going to be action-packed and consuming. We scheduled 3 separate points races this year. We're doing a home track wing race, a home track wingless race, and a traveling points race. So then the traveling points race is we're going to be all over. We got races scheduled at Lime Rock Speedway, Thunder Mountain Speedway, Skyline. We're waiting because the new ownership of the Outlaw track. We haven't touched base with them there. So once we do, we'll see what we can make of it. Big event that we're having at our home track. It's called the Rebels Race for a Cure, which is going to be June 12th. We paired up with Trimmingsburg Takes on Pediatric Cancer, and this is going to be our second annual event. It's going to be for a great cause. We're going to put on a good show, of course.
Now, Eric.
Couple other things before the race season starts. The Finger Lakes Mall, March 19th and 20th. We're doing a car show there. And the Arnott Mall, April 9th and 10th. Car show there also. So people can come out and check out the cars and get a sneak peek at a couple of the new builds.
Now, Eric, getting back to the race for the cure, that's something that it touches me close. My son battled leukemia and defeated it. So that's something that really means a lot to me. Tell the folks what goes on that day at the racetrack, what you as drivers do with the fans and whatnot.
Okay, well, that race is going to start at 1 p.m., and, it's all about the kids. One of the first things that we're going to have that's really cool and exciting is we invite all the kids and parents to bring their Power Wheels out, and we do a lap around the track where the kids, they all line up and they go for it and get to be out on the track and experience that. This year, we did that last year, and it was really cool and exciting. we're also having this year a couple of new things. We're doing a RC car race on the track, bicycle races, and raffles. And at the end of everything, drivers meet and greet. All proceeds go to the Timmingsburg Takes on Pediatric Cancer. So it's just a great event, and it's free, So we invite anybody and everybody to come out and help support that and be a part of a really great day. And it's going to be on a Sunday, I believe, trying to make it open and available for everyone and not interfere with Friday and Saturday night people racing.
With your guys' setup, Eric, does you talk about that race being on a Sunday? Does that really for the track in Trumansburg anyway? Does that running in the daytime versus running a night race? Do you guys still, even though it's a smaller scale track, do you guys still see some track changes that you guys have to adjust to?
I hope they, depending on the temperature. It's a little earlier in the season, so, you don't have that heat of the day. I like to think, well, once they got the moisture in the track, it'll stay pretty consistent. And being that it is a smaller track, you generally try to keep your car set up loose, and in most cases will stick under any condition, even when it gets a little dry out there.
Now, you guys, you talked about the car shows coming up where everybody can come and check out some of the new builds and everything. Is yours a brand new build for this year?
It is. I've taken what I'm going to be bringing up is the wingless car build. I've been doing some research. A lot of the guys that run wingless and different axle offsets and some of the things that they do to make that car stick a little bit better without as much side pressure and downforce. Taken an older chassis and completely updated it with some of the X bracing in it and some more strength in the front end and even in the rear. I've added a couple bars to be able to bring the chassis height higher to allow me to run the car even looser than a traditional wing car. So I'm really excited to finish this build and get it to the track and see what it's going to do. Yep.
Have you run wingless with your own mount before?
Yes, I have. We did do a couple wingless races last year with my wing car. I like I said, it's a smaller track that I generally run on, so I keep the car looser. So I really didn't have to do too much setup change. I just pretty much run your tire about as close to the rim as you can, and do a lot of grooving. So a lot of grooving and a lot of siphoning. Yeah.
Out of the tracks that you guys are going to be going to, as far as doing a little traveling and such, is there a track? And I don't remember if I've asked you this before or not, Eric, but is there a track that you feel might be a wild card for the whole group?
Discovery is always fun. We haven't been to Skyline yet, so that track could certainly prove to be interesting. Lime Rock, it's a bull ring just like our track. And they got the berm on the inside, so you can when you come off that, you can tuck your tire right against it and put a lot of right rear bite on those things and really fly. Thunder Mountain. Yeah, we've been up there twice. That's a 3/8 mile track, and that proves to be pretty awesome too. But I'm just excited to hit all these new tracks and the big tracks. And on the side note, we have kind of set a standard for our motor now. I think when I talked to you last time, we were up to 1,000 cc's.
Okay, yeah.
Really, there was a little controversy going with our home track because our prior president that we were having a little trouble finding out what our track insurance was. Since I talked to you last, we figured that out, and we've actually found out what the insurance is on our allotted track. And Micro Sprint insurance allows up to a 1,250 cc motor. So what we've done is we've set our motor rule at an 800 cc bottom end or less.
So,
and
Glenn, I think what
Eric's
getting at, and I think I want to bring Brad on in this too before we head to break, because Actually, Brad, I'll ask you about this. I mean, 1,250 cc's on these little micro sprints, that's going to be hauling the mail, my man.
That's right.
Well, you think about it, 1,250 cc's on a micro sprint chassis. The mini sprints of the Central New York era were running the 1,200 and 1,150, and I believe they could go just over 1,200 on a rebuilt motor. But I mean, they were running a 1,200 cc motor on a bigger mini sprint chassis that had the motor mounted,
right, like a lightning sprint, for instance. Yeah.
center of the chassis, similar to like a sprint car, only a mini size, a mini sprint. But 1,200 strapped to the side of a micro sprint. I mean, that's got to be putting some wicked force and some wicked torsion on those chassis.
No doubt. And those guys always put on a pretty incredible show, without a doubt. Guys, we're going to step aside here. When we come back, got a whole lot more coming up here on Turn 5 Live on the Performance Motorsports Network, the voice of motorsports.
Parents, your son or daughter has had their license for a while now, but you want to make sure they're prepared for any situation they may face on the road. High school driver's ed doesn't teach them to drive defensively. They need to be prepared for any highway emergency. For less than a month's insurance, and a whole lot less, BSR instructors at Summit Point Motorsports Park in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, will teach your son or daughter how to respond instantly and positively to unexpected situations on the road. BSR's specialized accident avoidance training teaches swerve to avoid maneuvers at highway speeds, ocular driving, which focuses driving attention on ways to avoid accidents, vehicle dynamics and feedback, skid control and skid recovery, threshold braking on straights and progressive braking on curves, and off-road recovery techniques. This is stuff driver's ed simply doesn't teach. So call BSR today, 304-725-8444. Give your kid the skill set needed to drive safely and responsibly on the highway. That's 304-725-8444.
So when you get to the corner of Smith and Orchard, you're going to want to take a
You
left.
are not going to
then
believe
what you're
this.
Gonna do is turn
Marcy
onto
and Brad just
Avenue
broke up,
and go past
and apparently
the first 3
she's
lights,
happy
and
about
then take
it.
the next left.
I don't really
Drive
think
5
she's
more
happy,
blocks,
but
and you should be
who am
there.
I to judge, right?
Park
anyway,
on the right.
That's
I'll
what
see
I
you
heard
later
last
tonight.
night.
It's hard to concentrate on two things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Creekside Entertainment is the official DJ, photo booth, and uplighting company of Turn 5 Live on the Performance Motorsports Network. Stuart Ovens and his staff at Creekside Entertainment are professional and experienced with events of any type. Creekside Entertainment specializes in wedding packages that are affordable and fun, and they are ready to serve you with the most up-to-date music and karaoke selection. If you can sing it in the shower, you can come out and sing it with Creekside Entertainment. And don't forget about the Creekside Entertainment photo booth and uplighting service that will transform your wedding or party into an event the family will be talking about for years. Trust the entertainment company that racers trust. Call Stu at area code 315-481-9700 or visit them online at creeksideentertainmentdj.com. You can also find them on Facebook and Twitter. Creekside Entertainment, division sponsor of the Black Rock Bandits in 2015.
Hi, race fans. This is the voice, Shane Andrews of the Big Block Modified Super Dirt Car Series, and you're listening to Turn 5 Live on PMN.
That entry right there never gets old.
Oh man, it gives me goosebumps every time. That Shane Andrews, he's something else.
That Shane Andrews cat, after we get through Dirt Car Nationals, we definitely got to get Shane back on the program here, talking Dirt Modifieds, because there's certainly going to be a lot to talk about on the Super Dirt Car Series this season. Things kicking off with the non-point shows down at Volusia coming up here this week. And then, we'll look toward the rest of the season on the Super Dirt Car Series getting kicked off. And so many storylines going into the season for the Super Dirt Car Series. I mean, you look at all the different drivers that are in different places and drivers that picked up new rides and all the new things that are happening on the series. I mean, they're going to Eldora. for a pairing with the Camping World Truck Series. A lot of good things going on. But, guys, we can't overlook Dirt Car Nationals taking place this week. And Clint, I was going to save this for buy or sell, but honestly, I hate to save it for the end of the show because, it has been a story this week. We always talk about the local guys here, talking dirt late models and stuff, and T-Mac's been on a tear with that new Longhorn chassis.
Yeah, he really has, Steve. He went from, he had the Rocket chassis last year, and for whatever reason, the new mount didn't really meet T-Mac style, and so he made a change this year, went with Bobby Labonte's Longhorn chassis, and this year he raced at East Bay, I believe it was East Bay last week, and really ran well at a track that he's notorious for not running well at.
Yeah, had a good week down there. We're going back to the hotline. We've got Eric Wright back on the line with us, talking micro sprints and specifically talking about the Rebel Outlaws. And Eric, as we get ready to kick things off in 2016 here in just a month or so, talk about some of the guys that follow the series, that kind of run the tour, as they say. Who are some of the guys that race fans coming out for the first time are going to want to be watching for? And I think we're still having a little bit of a problem there. So, Clint, I guess we'll go back to some dirt late model stuff here. We talked about this on Motorsports Madness last night, and you talk about we talked about T-Mac and how he's got a new chassis and but the other two names that have really been big this week and really in the last 10 days, I guess you could say, Josh Richards and Ryan Davenport. What more can you say about these guys?
Oh, I know T-Mac has went. I don't know if we talked about this on our show, but he decided to run the Lucas Oil late models this year. And all in all, they probably have a bigger pool of talent that he's going to have to race with than the World of Outlaws on a regular basis. So yeah, you got the likes of Randy Davenport, Steve Francis, Darrell Lanigan's moved over to the Lucas Oil late models. Rick Eckert, who had won the final show of the Dirt Car Nationals. So there's a lot going on in the Lucas Oil series for T-Mac to move over, and he really held his hand well. He was actually battling for the lead with the best in the business right now, Davenport, when he had a part failure and stuffed it in the fence on the last lap going through 3 and 4. So he's definitely hooked up with this Longhorn stuff, and I look forward to following him this year.
And I misspoke. I said Ryan Davenport, and
did.
who we're talking about is Jonathan Davenport. I got Ryan Davenport on the brain. He's been talking about some of these Salvas Mud Bus races coming up here up at Radio Hill. If you haven't followed along, there's been a lot of dirt drivers that have gotten into this Mud Boss modified RC car racing in the off season, and they've got some big events coming up here in the next couple of weeks. They've got a regular week of racing Saturday. Things kick off at 4 o'clock up at Radio Hill Raceway, Shannon Corners Road in Dundee, New York. And this is kind of the prelude weekend to the Mud Boss 200, the Battle of the Bosses at Radio Hill next Sunday, February 28th. And that A-Main is going to be a 200-lap affair. They're going to have up to 7 cars start the A-Main. They'll do 100 laps. They'll take a short break, and then they'll run the final 100 laps. And there's talk of some big numbers of cars turning out for that one. Not only guys that race these Mud Bosses on dirt, but also the guys that race them with the low center of gravity chassis and race them on the carpet tracks, like the ones out in Jamestown and And as I understand, they've also got one that's gone in now at the Finger Lakes Mall in Auburn. So this RC business starting to catch a little bit of fire. And as I understand, the Turn 5 Live mobile just might be making its way out onto the track this weekend. So thanks to all the folks over at Pilots, Dan and Gibbs and Lil Cobra and everybody over there for putting together a cool design for that. We're looking forward to tackling that this weekend and trying to qualify our way through to the 200. We'll see what happens.
Now you debuted 2 weeks ago, correct?
Yeah, debuted 2 weeks ago with the Matt Guerri Gibbs 12G body on the car. I want to send a big thank you to Kevin Ridley, who is a crate sportsman racer in the area, big into the RC cars, as are several of the dirt drivers that we know in the area. Kevin put a basic setup under the car and actually put it. Took it straight from the factory out of the box and helped us get it all set up and ready to go. And, debuted it 2 weeks ago. And let's just say the driver's got a whole lot of learning to do. Driver needs some seat time.
Well, those things aren't something you can just jump into and go fast with. There is a big learning curve because those things are fast.
Well, I'll tell you, my first practice session out there, I might have just as well had GoDaddy and number 10 on the side of it.
Whoa!
Because I was a roadblock getting in everybody's way, let me tell you. But, so that's going to be fun. Looking forward to that. Of course, next weekend up there at Radio Hill. Some other things that going on this week, Clint, we were talking a little bit about the late models. Got to talk about the World of Outlaw sprint cars. When you talk about that, no, Donnie Schatz did not win the Big Gator at Volusia. The Big Cat, Brad Sweet, picked up the Gator. How much of a surprise was that to you, Clint?
Well, he came out of the box strong. Actually, I think a lot of the momentum shifted. Donnie Schatz actually had his first DNF in, 8,000 starts or something like that. And, and that led to, the Big Cat, winning the first feature, gaining some momentum, separating himself from Donnie in the points for the Big Gator. And, he was able to win on the last night and clinch that. And, it was kind of neat seeing the pictures of him and somebody else, I can't remember who it was, holding that Big Gator there from it's about half the size of a sprint car, it seemed.
Now, Clint, let me ask you this. When we're talking about, Donnie Schatz and the fact that, here's an interesting point, his streak was like 168 or 178 races without a DNF. Here's an interesting thing. He may not even be on the series long enough to have that kind of streak again.
Yeah, that's, yeah. And I think we've talked about that, with the possibility of him starting to run some more late model stuff. But yeah, you figure that is just about 2 full seasons of races where he didn't not finish the race. Because they run about 94 to 96 races a year. And, 178 straight races he ran without a DNF. So, yeah, it's very possible that if he were to win again this year, maybe move on to try something else. But, you're absolutely right. It's an amazing feat. Amazing.
I want to turn to Brad. And, Brad, I want to bring you in on this conversation. Brad Sweet picks up the Big Gators, got the World of Outlaw Sprint Car point lead, has got a win on opening night. Is there, do you think this is something that's going to stick for the season? Is Sweet going to be a serious contender, or is he going to fade out a little bit at times during the season like we've seen in the past?
I think it's kind of hard being the first race of the season and the first time out of the box, but I think there's one definite thing that it proves to us is Brad Sweet and his team and that whole crew at their organization, did their homework, did the homework the longest, and came away with the spoils.
So it will be interesting to see just what all happens there. You've also had the All-Stars that were racing down there as well. Of course, Craig Kinzer picked up a big win down there, as well as Donnie Schatz picking up a win. Clint, I was a little surprised to see him running with the All-Stars. I mean, the team was down there, so I guess that makes sense. But I don't know how much we've seen him run besides running with the World of Outlaws.
Well, I think that Logan Schuchart did the same thing on the last night of the AOC or ASCOS, just to try to get the bugs worked out of it. Unfortunately for Logan, they had trouble night 2 as well, but or night 1 of the Outlaw Series for them. But I think maybe they was just out trying, get the first night bugs out, try something new with the car, something like that to, just something different to try possibly.
It seemed like Logan and those guys, are still working on getting some of the early season bugs out.
Well, yeah, Logan, he didn't even do a qualifying attempt, I don't believe, opening night of the Outlaws. Second night, he started 11th and was up to 6th, getting ready to actually battling. I think like 3rd through 6th was all right together, and he was right in that pack battling for position. And had another mechanical failure. And then the last night he finished 14th. Seemed like the track was pretty fast. I saw some of the highlights, and when you get a track like that and cars like that are, the track's heavy and everybody's fast, it's really tough to pass. And, so he held his ground just, about like everybody else did. And, he'll get to some tracks here that he saw last year that he liked. And I got to believe that maybe this year is going to be a breakout year for him.
Well, we'll be sure to follow them as well as the rest of the Craftsman World of Outlaw Sprint Car Series as the season progresses. We're going to be talking a little bit of Woodhull Raceway history. We're going to be doing that with Jerry Simons next, going to join us on the program here on Turn 5 Live on the Performance Motorsports Network, the voice of motorsports.
For 17 years, Stock Car Steel has been a leading materials supplier to the racing industry. Now they're also an official motorsports content partner of Race Chaser Online. The biggest names in NASCAR trust Stock Car Steel for all their raw materials, such as carbon steel, chrome moly, DOM, aluminum, plastics, and much, much more. You can't build a race car without the basic materials, and Stock Car Steel is the place to get them. Don't forget to also visit Stock Car Steel's sister company, SRI Supplies, for racing and industry. SRI is your #1 source for all your shop supply needs. Nuts, bolts, rivets, tapes, adhesives, cutting tools, chemicals, body shop supplies, paint shop supplies, lubricants, and more. A well-stocked race shop is a winning race shop, and the road to winning begins with 3 letters, SRI. For more information, visit stockcarsteel.com and SRI-supplies.com. You can also find them on Facebook at Stock Car Steel and Aluminum, or call either company toll-free at 1-888-752-7272.
Creekside Entertainment is the official DJ, photo booth, and uplighting company of Turn 5 Live on the Performance Motorsports Network. Stuart Ovens and his staff at Creekside Entertainment are professional and experienced with events of any type. Creekside Entertainment specializes in wedding packages that are affordable and fun, and they are ready to serve you with the most up-to-date music and karaoke selection. If you can sing it in the shower, you can come out and sing it with Creekside Entertainment. And don't forget about the Creekside Entertainment photo booth and uplighting service that will transform your wedding or party into an event the family will be talking about for years. Trust the entertainment company that racers trust. Call Stu at area code 315-481-9700 or visit them online at creeksideentertainmentdj.com. You can also find them on Facebook and Twitter. Creekside Entertainment, division sponsor of the Black Rock Bandits in 2015.
We're growing like crazy and need account reps who know their way around agencies, the internet, and social media. Got connections? Or do you know how to get to the decision makers? Are you fearless? We need you. Internet radio, or as we call it, wireless mobile radio, is rapidly becoming the place to be with almost limitless income potential. So contact us to get involved with the fastest growing professionally produced group of internet radio stations in the world. Your imagination is the only limit here. Call 717-749-0444. That's 717-749-0444. Or you can email us at scorpionradiogroup@gmail.com. You want to ask for Sue.
Hi, race fans. This is Mills Family Racing, and you're listening to Turn 5 Live on PMN.
Thank you, Amber Mills, bringing us back from commercial break here on Turn 5 Live, right here on the Performance Motorsports Network, the voice of motorsports. Steve Ovens, Brad Ovens, Clint Miller joining you on the program here tonight. And I'll tell you guys, it's an honor to bring in Jerry Simons from the Woodhall Raceway joining us on the program tonight. Jerry, I really appreciate the time and giving us a little bit of Woodhall education here tonight.
Hey, guys. Thanks a lot for having me on the show.
Jerry, first off, I want to congratulate you on your Dedication to Motorsports Award that you received at the Woodhall Banquet back in December. From everything that we talked to folks about and have heard, it seems like you have really done it all at Woodhall.
Well, I've been around there quite a while. They kind of blindsided me with that award, Steve, to be honest with you that night. But, yeah, I've been around the racetrack since it fired up when I was like 10 or 11 years old, and it's just been a big part of my life.
What was your first job or role at the raceway?
Well, I drove race cars for a little while. I started in around 73 in a 6-cylinder class up there, and didn't have a lot of success. We weren't a terribly big funded crew, but we had a good time, and I raced actually in the first 320 class that they had there for a while, and with Carter Dennis and David Learn. But after that, I kind of ran out of money, and Jim Williams had an old wrecker up there. He wanted me to drive that. That was actually my first job, and you'd love to seen that wrecker because it smoked. You couldn't see anything around anywheres on the track. I mean, any normal car would have been black flagged for having something like that on the track, but I even blew that thing up.
So you brought your duties from behind the wheel and brought it to the wrecker and still blew the thing up.
Yeah. And so I moved on to assistant flagman for a few years behind Ellen Twilliger, Gary Kelly, and then Jim and Alice approached me and wanted me to be their flagman, and I can't really tell you what year that was. It was in the 90s when I took over as head flagman, and I flagged there, and I had 1 year I flagged at Black Rock and Woodhall, and that was a crazy year. I want to let you know that right now. Well, it was the old Dundee racetrack then called, but
sure.
I don't think I'd ever do that again because you're one feud at Dundee would be brought to Woodhall, and you had to contain it 2 nights in a row. That was just too much.
And there was a lot of guys crossing over. I mean, who were some of the big players when you talk about your premier divisions and guys that were running both places quite a bit? Who were some of the standouts back in that time period?
Oh, Don Kyle, Kurt Van Pelt. Of course, Billy was there then too. The Sherwood boys, Bobby and Lyle. That's all in the modifieds, and your street stocks were likes of Kenny Peoples Sr. and oh gosh, guys like that. It was just behind or just after the Wes Rogers, Arnie Flint era, pretty much.
Okay.
So
yeah,
you
spent some time up on the flag stand, did a little bit of flagging at both facilities. What was there any other positions that you've held at the track?
Well, when Scott and Amy Drake took over, they took over in 1998, and I believe I flagged 1 year for them, and then we decided to have a race director. And Scott wanted me to move up into that, which I did. Moved into the booth with the scorekeepers, and Steve Cady stepped on board as a flagman at that point. And then I was race director up till last year was my first year that I wasn't race director. So from 1999 till 2014, I guess.
That's a pretty good tenure up there in the tower.
Yeah. Actually, it might have been a couple years longer than I wanted to be there, but Ted wanted me to stay there until he got his feet wet and, got the racetrack running the way he wanted it. And then I moved over into the announcer's booth last year and helped Paul Harkenreiter a little bit. And that's where I met you last year there. And,
yeah. Now,
I had a
you
lot of
talked
fun over
about
there. We had a couple nights that Morgan Colgrove come over, and Morgan and I go back quite a ways and reminisce about the old race cars and come up with some stories sometimes that keep the fans, changes it up for the fans, let's just say. And
sure.
They like to hear some of the old stories.
Well, you talk about some of those stories, and I think some of the photos that have come out this off season of Woodhall over the years, that has certainly gotten a lot of people fired up talking about some of their great memories at the track.
Oh, they've had some great pictures on Facebook this year. Was it a 10-day challenge they call it, or something like that? And they keep passing it driver to driver, and there's a lot of great pictures out there that bring back a lot of good memories.
Was there a photo that you came across through all those that kind of caught you and made you sit back and say, "Oh man, I got to think back," and boy, what a story that was?
There was a race one night with Lyle Sherwood, Bobby Sherwood, and Kurt Van Pelt. And I am not sure Billy might have been in the mix, but these guys, at least 3 wide the whole race, leading the race, and it was just an exciting race. I don't want to start a lot of waves, but Lyle Sherwood knew who won that race that night, and my call was overruled, but Kurt was declared the winner, and I really had Lyle right at the flag stand by, maybe an inch or two. It wasn't very much, but it was one of the best races I think I've ever seen. And we talked about that for years, and I miss Lyle. He was a great guy. And the night that he had his heart attack and died at Woodall, that's just something that's lodged in my mind, and I'll never, ever forget. And it was a horrible night, but he was a great guy. Great guy.
I mean, he's one of those drivers, Jerry, that when somebody brings up Lyle Sherwood's name, I have not yet to this day found somebody that's had a negative thing to say about the guy, not only the guy in the pit area, but the guy behind the wheel.
No, I know it. He was the guy that ran the outside of the track, just wide open. He might drop right off the backstretch and over the backstretch and then come flying back on. And I said, Lyle, one night, I said, why do you keep going over that backstretch? Boy, there's a lot of bite down there, Jerry. He said, and he laughed. Wild Child was his handle, and he come by it naturally.
And a lot of the times, Jerry, he drives one-handed.
Yeah. You'll notice these guys that drive one-handed, most of them are truck drivers. They got one hand on the wheel, and they were shifting with their other hand in the big trucks, and that's just the way they drive their race cars. Bill Brewer's a guy that does that too. Huh. And
I'll tell you what, guys. There's a guy that listens to us every week that used to be a truck driver, and I can already see him shaking his head up and down.
Yep. It's just natural for him.
Yeah.
But Well, I can say I've worked for every, owner except for George, the original owner, George, but Jim and Alice, Scott and Amy, and Vern Wasson, Ted and Brandy. They've all been great bosses, and it's been a fun place to work. It really has. Made a lot of friends.
Jerry, we don't get an opportunity far near enough to talk to guys that are either current race directors or have been race directors in the past. That has got to, that vantage point on race night, set aside all the flack I'm sure you got over the years over this call or that call. I mean, that is a vantage point that very few people in the racing community ever get to see.
Right. It would all, I don't know how all other tracks work, but it would all, we've always pretty much let the flagman make the calls. And I was the bad guy that got to deliver the message over the radio. And
sure.
I got blamed. The race director at Woodall gets blamed for more calls than he makes. Let's put it that way. And my job as far as making a call was if I had a better picture of what happened for what incident, I would lay into that and I would correct them if need be. Most of the time those guys are pretty good, and there's sometimes that they miss something. And anybody that goes to a racetrack, if you're looking at turn 1 and 2 and something happens in 3 and 4, I'm sorry, you missed it. And a lot of people don't understand that, and it's the same way as refereeing a basketball game. If your eye isn't on it, you can't make the call. And you do the best you can. We try to have somebody looking at every aspect of the track. That's why we have corner flagmen and what have you. But sometimes something comes over the radio in our ears, and everybody will turn and look at it, but they'll turn and look that way, and everybody misses it.
Sure.
But people don't understand that, and I just wanted to kind of clear the air on that, so maybe people would have a better understanding of just what does go on during a call.
Oh, absolutely. That part of racing has always been fascinating to me, and it's been fascinating as a media member to kind of be a little bit closer to some of that action and seeing what all happens behind the scenes. But Jerry, we've got a few more questions we'd like to ask you, but we got to step aside here real quick. If we can hold on to you for another segment here.
Okay.
All right. We'll have a lot more with Jerry Simons coming up here in our next segment on Turn 5 Live on the Performance Motorsports Network, the voice of motorsports.
You own a performance car and you know how to drive, but you want to learn real performance driving. Well, Bunky, get that car off the street and onto the track. Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier road racing facility, located just over an hour from D.C. in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, is the place to go. And you'll find that Friday at the track is going to give you what you need. For less than a monthly car payment, you can attend this regularly scheduled one-day instructional event in your street car on one of Summit Point's 3 world-class road racing circuits. You'll receive classroom instruction, skid pad instruction in their cars, including front and rear skid control, and 4 20-minute in-your-car instructional sessions from a professional instructor. Have fun, go fast, and really learn how to drive. Call 304-725-8444 for class schedules and details. That's 304-725-8444. Friday at the track at Summit Point Motorsports Park.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ballin' Street? Girlin' Street!
It's hard to concentrate on 2 things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Here's an important message from RAD and this station.
Hi, this is Bob Sheehan from Blues Traveler for RAD, recording artists against drunk driving. I like to party just as much as the next guy, maybe even more. But the one thing I won't do after I've had a few is get in the car and drive. Don't blow it. Always choose a designated driver. Remember, music lives and so should you.
Motorsports Sales Professionals. Performance Motorsports is looking to build a team of experienced media sales professionals to represent our programming to the industry's top companies, magazines, and racing series. If you have motorsports sales or marketing experience, know how to work with agencies, understand social media, and are incredibly creative when it comes to working with clients and promotions, then we want to hear from you. Top performers are richly rewarded. Your imagination is the only limit here. Call 717-749-0444. That's 717-749-0444, or email us at scorpionradiogroup@gmail.com. You want to ask for Sue.
Hi, race fans. This is Brett Deo, and you're listening to Turn 5 Live on PMN.
Welcome back, race fans, to Turn 5 Live here on the Performance Motorsports Network. Steve Ovens, Brad Ovens, Clint Miller, and Jerry Simons joining us on the hotline tonight, giving us some history, some education on his background with the Woodhull Raceway. And Jerry, we just got the re-entry by Brett Deo, and you talked about some exciting drivers that we've seen at Woodhull over the years. I'm going to go back to last August, that Brett Deo show, midweek show. Dylan DeWert, a name that we have heard in the Southern Tier for years, been a great racer in our area, has got some great history behind that number 28. You want to talk about a show, man, he put on a show and really represented the locals well that night.
He did. Steve, that was one of the better races also of the year, and Stuart Friesen, I think, was pleasantly surprised when he came there that he was going to have a battle like that. And Stuart, in his own rankings, one heck of a driver. Dylan certainly showed him the way around Woodhull, that Woodhull cars are not slouches. And the high banks are something that everybody just doesn't catch on to quick. And he certainly gave him an education that night, let's just say that.
That's for sure. You've seen a lot of drivers come through the gates at Woodhull, and we certainly know the ones that have had storied careers and great success there. But is there, and I ask this to a lot of folks that race at Woodhull, is there really a combination that somebody can kind of pin down to say this is what makes drivers successful there? And so, being with your experience there over the years, I'd be curious to know your thought on that.
Well, I do believe it's the guys that do their homework. And you take a guy like Billy Van Pelt. He's had, of course, his brother-in-law was his crew chief for years, and there isn't anybody, if they walked up to Billy and asked, say what their car is doing and ask what they could do to make it better, they would help them. They might even give them shocks. They might explain, how to set their car up better. And they're there. Billy likes to race. He likes to race hard. He likes people to race him hard. And guys like him are there to help everybody. And that I think is a standout tribute to some of the drivers at Woodhull. They love competition, and they love to mix it up. And I think that's one of the special things at Woodhull. And like I said earlier, the high banks are something that some people never get a handle on. I've seen drivers come there that never did get a good handle on them. And some of them might one week run good and the next week out to lunch, and because of just the way the track conditions change and various things with the weather. But yeah, there's guys like Billy and that are there to better other drivers, not just themselves. And I know people sometimes they don't like a guy that wins all the time. Billy wins you all know how many championships he's won, and he's a great, great driver. People sometimes will boo him, but a majority are cheering him because he is a great guy, and he's willing to share some of their racing setups and try to help other drivers. And I think that says a lot.
Absolutely. Looking over some of the divisions running weekly at Woodhull, you've got the modifieds, you've got the Crate Sportsman, the 360 late models, the street stocks, the rear wheel and front wheel drive 4-cylinders. You've got the Woodhull Warriors. Kind of going down through the list a little bit here. You look at the Crate Sportsman division, and Chris Doherty picked up the championship last season. And I kind of enjoy watching him and his son Jeffrey at the racetrack. Those are two guys that just love racing, love being at the track, and love competing at a high level. And they've been doing that at Woodhull here for the past couple of seasons.
Yeah, Chris is a great guy. He also sponsors a class there at Woodhull, and sponsors cars, and he does have a great love for racing, and that's another guy that's a great competitor and is willing to help other people. You see that quite a bit around there, and that's pretty impressive.
Jerry, earlier you talked about having worked for all all the different owners of the track except for George at the very beginning. And you've been able to see the transformation that Woodhull has taken from its early days now to getting ready to start the 2016 season. What has it been like watching the raceway grow and go through change and still being successful in probably one of the toughest racing markets to be successful in right now?
I think a lot of Woodhull is the location of it because we're close to the PA border, so we draw cars from Pennsylvania as well as from Bath area and Hornell area. And the location, George couldn't have done better by locating the track there, for one. And when it first started out, it was planks you sat on cement blocks, and the planks were on top of the cement blocks, and it was pretty open. They had a couple concession stands here and there, and then Jim actually reconfigured the whole thing and built a new refreshment building all the way down through that housed everything, and they hauled I don't know how many earth mover loads of dirt in there and filled that thing and built a new bleachers. And one Sunday, Jim cooked hot dogs, hamburgers, and had refreshments, and drivers and pit crew members, and everybody showed up there, and we carried planks and actually laid them in place for Jim and his boys to screw them down into place during the week, but we carried plank after plank after plank that day. And so that was a kind of a community effort. Everybody pitched in to make that track better, and it certainly did. It was a nice facility. It still is a nice facility because of that. But that's drivers looking out for each other. You know what I mean?
Oh,
absolutely.
absolutely.
Racers looking out for each other. It's a family.
When if you have an opportunity to talk to fans that have either not been to Woodhull or before, or maybe haven't been in a long time, what was it? What would be one or two things that you would tell them about why they should come to Woodhull?
Well, I think they try to offer things for everybody, kids-wise to older fans. They have a section that if you're not someone that consumes alcohol, don't want your children on alcohol, there's a whole section in front, right behind the flag stand. It's all cordoned off. It's a non-alcoholic section, so people can go in there and sit with their children and enjoy the races if they don't want to be around people that are drinking. I think people are a lot less rowdy nowadays than they used to be, and there was a time if a flagman made a call down there, there there was a lot of rowdiness right there in the stands that had to be contained. But you don't see that so much anymore, and which is good. But they have a bicycle giveaway there for the kids, and that's big. I don't know how many bikes they give away that night, but they give boys bikes, girls bikes, and they're drawn out, and the kids just love that night. They call it Christmas. I don't know. It's Christmas in July, maybe. I don't know. But that's one big thing they do for the kids, and they have the early bird specials. They have senior citizen discounts, and they try to keep it entertaining. And they try to keep their food prices down, I think, pretty good. And I think they find they sell more by doing that than they do to outprice themselves. So you want to keep things as affordable as you can, because that fills your stands. And I think most of us will agree on that. But that's some of the things I think that draw them. We have good car counts most of the while. I know some tracks are envious of car counts we do get. And I also think this downtrend in gas prices and things, I think, is going to help the racers out quite a bit as far as, if you're working, your family's working out there, you're just going to work, you're spending a lot of money on gas. And now it's getting back where it's affordable. It's putting some more money into your pockets, which maybe is going to afford somebody to build a four-cylinder. Who knows? There's a lot of different things that add to racers, getting them there at the track, and I don't know. I guess Woodall is just home to me, and it always will be.
Well, it certainly rings through as you talk about it. That's for sure. And something that struck Brad and I when we interviewed Teddy at the banquet back there in December. I mean, it just seems like they've got a great crew that have been around the place, and folks like yourself that have been, have such great history with the track, and it certainly seems like they've got a great future ahead of them, just as they have all these years.
Well, and besides the racing, they also throw in a tractor pull with all the big fuelie tractors. That's there one night, and they also have a big horse pull with big Belgian horses up there one night or one afternoon, and so there's a little bit of a variety there. They bring in the sprint cars, the crate late models, like the Brett Deo show with big block, small block. The Grit series is there for the crates, and so there's a lot of different things that show up. Not every week, but every other week, say, that adds another class in there and adds more entertainment. I don't want to leave out the mid-state antiques. I think their numbers are dropping a little bit, but we're always good to see the old cars come back. And I always get picked on by all the guys I work with. Hey, there's Jerry's old car.
I appreciate the time tonight. It's been great, getting to know some of the roles you've had at the raceway, and won't be too much longer, and we're going to have cars on display here at the Arnott Mall.
Yeah, that's 19th and the 20th of March.
Sir.
That's coming up pretty quick.
Well, we look forward to maybe seeing you out there, and for sure look forward to working with you at Woodhall this year.
Well, I can't wait, Steve. I think we're going to have a great year.
I couldn't agree more. Appreciate the time.
Thanks for having me on the show tonight.
You bet. All right, Jerry Simons joining us on the hotline tonight. I'll tell you what, guys. I mean, it's a little different for me because I'm coming into Woodhall as a new employee. But I'll tell you what, guys. Just as a race fan, to hear some of the history of Woodhull and the drivers, the players, the different things that have gone on and continue to go on with the raceway, is that part of it's just fascinating to me.
You said it best, Brad. Go ahead, man. Well, what Brad had said was that, we were talking to Jerry Simons there. He had said, this is a walking history book of
absolutely. And not to.
Oh, I think we're having a little problem there with getting Brad hooked in with us there, Clint. But yeah, I mean, Brad had a great quote, and I've got it right here. He said that talking to Jerry about Woodhull and talking about some of the history, that's a walking, breathing history book on the track.
Yep.
And honestly, Clint, when you talk about the history of any kind of track, that's the kind of guy that you could sit down and just, story after story after story. I mean, you wanted to do a history on the track, that's the guy you want to talk to right there.
Yeah, you're sure right. And I love doing that. I love doing that. The whole the whole round table. You and I have talked about doing a show. Just putting the tape recorder in the middle of the table, and just letting them go. And I still think that's a great idea, and I still think we should do it sometime. But that's what you get when you hear somebody like Jerry talking about all that, talking about the racers, talking about the races. It just, the nostalgia is just amazing.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Good segment there. We've got a good segment coming up here next, too. We're going to talk with Doug Smith, driver of the 01 Crate Sportsman. We're going to talk to him about his plans for this season, and we'll talk to him about a few races from the past season coming up next here on Turn 5 Live on the Performance Motorsports Network, the voice of motorsports.
We're growing like crazy and need account reps who know their way around agencies, the internet, and social media. Got connections? Or do you know how to get to the decision makers? Are you fearless? We need you. Internet radio, or as we call it, wireless mobile radio, is rapidly becoming the place to be with almost limitless income potential. So contact us to get involved with the fastest growing professionally produced group of internet radio stations in the world. Your imagination is the only limit here. Call 717-749-0444. That's 717-749-0444. Or you can email us at scorpionradiogroup@gmail.com. You want to ask for Sue.
Okay, so Sarah, I'm dropping you off at Emily's?
Yep.
And Josh, you're going to?
Soccer, Dad. Soccer practice.
Right. Oh, by the way, I just wanted to let you know when I pick you both up, I'll be wearing my short shorts.
What? No!
Yep, and my dorky dad hat, and I'm going to do my dad dance for all your friends. They'll love it!
Seriously? Why?
Because I like my short shorts. Of course, I could be talked out of it if you guys would just buckle up your seatbelts without giving me a hard time.
It's important to get your kids to buckle up for safety, no matter what it takes. And sometimes, all it takes is your parental powers of persuasion.
Okay, we're buckling up. See, all buckled.
Good choice. I'll just have to do my dad dance at dinner time. What?
No!
Do what you have to make sure your kids are wearing their seatbelts, even on short drives. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. Visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup for more information.
If you're a gearhead and you just can't get enough of your favorite motorsports on that channel on the cable, or you look at that Guy network and you just go, what does that have to do with me? We have the answer. Performance Motorsports Network. Right here on the internet. The best cruising tunes, the best in motorsports programming, and the best shows. We have opinionated hosts, and we like it that way. If you want to get involved, if you want to bench race, be listening for information coming up soon right here on this channel, the Performance Motorsports Network, your source for motorsports.
Hi, race fans. This is Mel Thomas from Thomas Video, and you're listening to Turn 5 Live on PMN.
Mel Thomas, our good buddy, bringing us back From commercial break here on Turn 5 Live here on the Performance Motorsports Network. Steven Ovens, Clint Miller, Brad Ovens joining me on the program tonight. And now bringing us back from commercial, joining us on the hotline, Doug Smith, driver of the Crate Sportsman Modified, number 01. Doug, appreciate the time tonight.
No problem.
Well, man, talk to us about 2015. You guys ran a full year over at the Black Rock Speedway, had a lot of good runs and a pretty respectable finish up in the point standings.
In 2015, it was a learning curve for us. I raced street stocks for probably 9 years, early 2000s, and then I went to the open wheel for the last 7 races in 14. We went to random shows just to learn. Then we bought a new car from Mike Payne over the winter, and we went to Black Rock to test early in the spring test sessions that they had, and things are going pretty good. So we made that our home track for the summer.
And talk to us. I mean, that was something I didn't realize is you guys were you as a driver fairly new to the open wheel game. How was that transition for you?
When I first started, I didn't like it. Something I didn't think I was really going to stick with. But once I got, a decent setup underneath us and had some, veteran drivers help us get things ready, for 2015, it really wasn't a bad thing. They actually drive a lot easier than the street stocks that I drove. So. What
were there any guys that you had to kind of lean on for support as far as setup goes or driving these cars? Is there anybody that, that race that might be competitors that you guys have tried to lean on for that help?
Nick Guerrieri was a big help to us, early in the season when we planned on running Canandaigua. And then when things changed and we went the route of Black Rock, I helped Steve Gray when he ran for Documentary Processors in the sportsman cars years ago. So I knew Steve going into it, and he was a real big help for stuff at Black Rock. He helped us all summer long. And if it wasn't for him and, Nick and those guys, I'd probably been out to lunch all summer. I wouldn't have been finishing where I was, and I probably would have never finished, 5th in points for my first full season in an open wheel car.
So did this kind of, did Black Rock, and now called Outlaw Speedway, do you think that track, the configuration, the 4/10 mile, does that kind of suit your driving style?
I would say no. I mean, it did for the summer. I can't complain on the year that we had. Most of my street stock stuff was done at Canandaigua. I hit a few races in the street stocks at Black Rock. I tried a couple of the World 100s. I made one of those. So it really wasn't a place that I would have called home until things were going good in those practice sessions that we went to early in the year. And things just kind of fit and everything went well. We clicked good with Mike and those guys, and so that's where we've ended up. And it was either one or the other, and we picked there, and we stayed there all summer long. So.
We've asked a lot of drivers that, talk about their season from the year before. So I'm going to ask you the same kind of questions here tonight. High point in the racing season this year and the low point of the racing season. What were those two for you this year?
The high point would be leading every lap but the one that counted. Those guys are fast down there. I never expected to lead as many laps as I did in a feature, let alone all but the one that counted. So that was a rookie mistake on me. So it was an up and down part of the season because I did screw up on my own. So, I took that real hard, but it was stuff that I learned, and, it's mistakes that I won't make again.
On that particular night, Doug, what was there anything in particular? Was it just, I just drifted a little too high, or what was it that night?
The caution coming out with, one to go and then to go green, white, checkered. My nerves were killing me. I was thinking way too much on those caution laps, and I just thought myself right out of turn one. I knew that Josh was behind me, and he had pressured me a couple times through the race, so I knew he was on the bottom, and I was a little bit up, and I tried going in on the bottom in his lane, just to help protect. I figured he wouldn't be able to go around me. And then when I drove into one, on the bottom, I drove in a little hard, and I slid the front end, and that's when he got by me.
It's got to be, you look back on that race and right after it happens, you got to try and take the positives out of that as best you can. I mean, it's certainly a heartbreaker, but I mean, to know that you got to that point this season in your driving career and having not raced these open wheel cars for really that long, I mean, that's got to feel really good for you guys.
It was a big stepping stone that, that night, I felt after that we were definitely going to be competitive through the rest of the season. We learned a lot on the car to get to that point. There's not as many adjustments on a street stock as there is a sportsman, so it was definitely a learning curve. And from that point on, we just took it, and ran with it, knowing that we could be competitive. Every night that we went there, knowing that if I didn't make mistakes, that the car was there to be able to do that. And I couldn't do it without the guys that helped me every week to make changes and to learn. And I really couldn't do it on my own. It's Lloyd Wheeler's stuff. He called me to drive his stuff, so I wouldn't be doing it at all if it wasn't for him. He was new at it too, so he was learning just as much as us.
Now, Doug, tell us the background of the story with you and Lloyd.
Lloyd was a good friend of mine in high school. He moved away. I moved out of state for a while. We barely kept in touch, maybe here and there on Facebook, very minimal. He moved back here after he had a stroke. He wanted to come back to New York. And his dream was always to race. He raced go-karts growing up, and he always wanted an open-wheel car. So he set his mind to it, and he bought one. And the driver that was going to drive for him, they didn't click as good as they thought they were going to. And I got a message from him and another guy that was helping him on Facebook that basically said, I need a driver, and if you're not going to do it, I'm going to sell my stuff. I don't want to do it anymore. And I told him at that point I wasn't really ready to commit to it, but I would come talk to him and give it a whirl. And now we're here, a year and a half later. So
that's that is great. I think some of these stories are some of the best ones that get told in the racing community, and that's a great thing. I mean, you guys kind of, you had the friendship so long ago, and now it comes back and blossoms into a race team, and damn near took a win this past season. So that's a great story.
Yeah, definitely better than both of us ever would have thought. I had a couple guys in and out, on the pit crew, all summer long. It's hard to commit to every week. So I've been there, done that myself, and a lot of these guys think they can do it, and it's hard to do it with a family. It's real hard for me to do it with a family. 2 kids and my girlfriend, if they didn't support me, I wouldn't be able to do it either. So, and then, I finally found somebody that clicked with me as a crew guy, which is Mike, and he stuck with us through all summer long, whether it was, spinning out and crashing, or going for the victory and leading every lap but one.
Yeah,
we'll go with it, again for 2016. Now we got some notes to go on, so hopefully it's another good year.
Well, that leads into my next question, and I know a lot of drivers, when we talked to them at the banquet, at that point we didn't know what was going to happen with BlackRock, now called Outlaw. So now that news is out, where does that leave you guys for 2016?
Looks like we're having some more difficulties, Steve.
Oh, hey, there we go. I think we got him picked back up here. So, Doug, with now that we know, everything that's happening with Outlaw Speedway and the like, where does that leave you guys for 2016?
2016 right now we're committed to Canandaigua. It's something that we kind of set in stone because we didn't know what Mike was going to do and, what was going to come about with the track. We're going to come, to Outlaw here and there. We're going to run, some of the grit stuff plus some, if we're ready to go on Friday night, we'll change things over to go down there. But right now we're committed to Canandaigua, and we're going to run the Grit Hoosier stuff.
Ah, very good. Very good. So exciting year coming up for you guys. And before we end our time tonight, tell us some of the folks on the side of the car that help keep things going.
Well, obviously, I got a big thanks to Lloyd for having me drive his stuff. If it wasn't for him, we wouldn't be doing it at all. Mike Payne from, Quick Time Shocks, he does all our shocks. He's been a big help, with the learning stuff. And then I got, Goog Metal and Fab. He's been building bumpers and Nerf bars and stuff for us, doing any welding that we needed. We all know we needed some of that over the summer, so. And then my kids and my girlfriend, I couldn't do it without their support. They go every chance they can, and if they don't, I keep them posted as to what's going on.
Well, whether he's sitting in turn 4 or sitting a little closer to the front stretch, always good to bump into Jackson and Isaiah at the racetrack. But, Doug, appreciate the time tonight, and we'll catch up with you at the racetrack for sure. That's Doug Smith joining us on the hotline here tonight. We've got a little bit more to come yet. We've got some fast timers down at Volusia. We'll talk about those, and we'll wrap this puppy up as we get ready to throw the white flag here on Turn 5 Live on the Performance Motorsports Network, the voice of motorsports.
For 17 years, Stock Car Steel has been a leading materials supplier to the racing industry. Now they're also an official motorsports content partner of Race Chaser Online. The biggest names in NASCAR trust Stock Car Steel for all their raw materials, such as carbon steel, chrome moly, DOM, aluminum, plastics, and much, much more. You can't build a race car without the basic materials, and Stock Car Steel is the place to get them. Don't forget to also visit Stock Car Steel's sister company, SRI Supplies, for racing and industry. SRI is your #1 source for all your shop supply needs. Nuts, bolts, rivets, tapes, adhesives, cutting tools, chemicals, body shop supplies, paint shop supplies, lubricants, and more. A well-stocked race shop is a winning race shop, and the road to winning begins with 3 letters, SRI. For more information, visit stockcarsteel.com and SRI-supplies.com. You can also find them on Facebook at Stock Car Steel and Aluminum, or call either company toll-free at 1-888-752-7272.
Creekside Entertainment is the official DJ, photo booth, and uplighting company of Turn 5 Live and the Performance Motorsports Network. Stuart Ovens and his staff at Creekside Entertainment are professional and experienced with events of any type. Creekside Entertainment specializes in wedding packages that are affordable and fun, and they are ready to serve you with the most up-to-date music and karaoke selection. If you can sing it in the shower, you can come out and sing it with Creekside Entertainment. And don't forget about the Creekside Entertainment photo booth and uplighting service that will transform your wedding or party into an event the family will be talking about for years. Trust the entertainment company that racers trust. Call Stu at area code 315-481-9700 or visit them online at creeksideentertainmentdj.com. You can also find them on Facebook and Twitter. Creekside Entertainment, division sponsor of the Black Rock Bandits in 2015.
We're growing like crazy and need account reps who know their way around agencies, the internet, and social media. Got connections? Or do you know how to get to the decision makers? Are you fearless? We need you. Internet radio, or as we call it, wireless mobile radio, is rapidly becoming the place to be with almost limitless income potential. So contact us to get involved with the fastest growing professionally produced group of internet radio stations in the world. Your imagination is the only limit here. Call 717-749-0444. That's 717-749-0444. Or you can email us at scorpionradiogroup@gmail.com. You want to ask for Sue.
Hi, race fans. This is Matt Shepard, and you're listening to Turn 5 Live on PMN.
Welcome back, race fans, to Turn 5 Live here on the Performance Motorsports Network. White flag is in the air. One more trip around the Fast 4/10 mile or the 3rd mile, New York's toughest bull ring, wherever you may be on a Friday or Saturday night. Guys, we're wrapping this puppy up here tonight. A lot of good interviews tonight, but Clint, we've got some action going down at Volusia. Got hot laps tonight for the Big Block Modifieds, part of the Super Dirt Car Series. And you've been keeping us abreast of all the things happening with hot laps. Who are some of the noisemakers so far?
Tyler Dipple was definitely a noisemaker. Tyler Siri, a couple of Tylers there, and our own Outlaw Speedway owner Tyler Siri turning a fast lap down there, along with Billy Dunn was in the top 3 or 4. Billy Pouch was up there, so there's a lot of guys down there that are turning quick times, and they got I think they had 32 cars down there practicing.
We just had the re-entry with Matt Shepard coming back from the break. I know that those guys were looking forward to finally getting that new car and the new team out onto the track. Have you seen anything of how they've been performing so far?
Yeah, his best time was 18.3, and the quick times have been right around 17, high 17s, low 18s. So he's right there in the mix of it, and a couple tweaks here or there, and he'll be right up there with the best of them, because he is the best of them.
Sure, absolutely. We've seen a lot of pictures flying in on Twitter and on Facebook here tonight. Got a great one on the Dirt Car Nationals Twitter account at Dirt Car Nats, Nats. Nice shot of Billy Pouch on track during Super Dirt Car practice, and I'll tell you what, guys, that yellow number 1 for Billy Pouch, that's a sharp-looking car right there.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet, but I'm always been a big fan of yellow anyway.
Yeah, you guys have had a few yellow race cars over time.
Yeah, you got that right. And hey, Steve, I just tonight's another late model show down to Volusia, and Billy Moyer Jr., who won last night, has actually had to come out of one of the last chance showdowns to make the main tonight. I mean, that just goes to tell you what kind of and Daryl Lanigan, what kind of competitions down there. I think they had 52 or 53 late models sign in tonight.
Yeah, here's the 2 that transferred from the B main number 2 was Daryl Lanigan and Boom Briggs. Here's the do not qualify list. How about this? Fager, Norris, Clem, Millard, Frank, Smith, and Ziegler. And of course, Ziegler being the guy that picked up a victory with the Lucas Oil Series just a couple nights ago.
That's absolutely right.
And here's B main 3, Jared Landers and Rick Eckert qualify. I mean, holy cow.
Yeah, just the names are just, there's so much talent, and it's all about time trials and being able to start up front. And if you have a couple bad laps in your time trials and you got to try to come from the back, it makes it really difficult.
You talked about some of the front runners. Big Block Modified hot lap session number 2. Tyler Siri was quick with a 17.846. Billy Dunn. And then you've got, I believe that's probably Eldon Payne Jr., Neil Williams, Danny Johnson, Eric Rudolph. I mean, a lot of front runners there in that session. So we've got four nights coming up: Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday for the Super Dirt Car Series, running the non-point shows at Volusia this week. Let's go a little round table here. Clint, I'll start with you. If you had to toss out the 4 winners for this week, who would you take?
Well, I'm not going to go out on too much of a limb here. I'm going to say the Doctor's going to win one. I'm going to say Matt Shepard's going to win one. I'm going to go Billy Dunn. I'm going to go Tyler Dipple. I think he might pull one out.
And who do you have for the Big Gator?
The Big Gator is going to be. I got. Boy,
we got him.
Yeah, I don't know, because there, even though Matt is fast, it's his own stuff now, and I can't believe that he's going to be that far off. I'm going to say it's going to be between him and Danny Johnson.
All right, we'll turn over to Brad, and we'll get Brad's 4 picks for this week, and then his pick for the Big Gator.
I agree with Clint. I think the Doctor can pull away with a win. As good as they were at the end of the year last year. I think they'll keep it right going and with the Generali crew and everybody behind them. But I think we're going to see a repeat winner and a guy that's won the Gator down there many times pick up some more wins. I'm going to have to say Brett Hearn's going to come away with a couple more wins down there. And as far as my fourth driver, I think we could see Tyler Dipple pick up a win down there. Obviously the kid's shown he has the raw talent to do it, and he's got the equipment to do it. So I think he could really prove to be something. But as far as the Gator goes, I think I'm going to have to lean towards another Brett Hearn victory.
All right, so we've got a vote for Clint. You said Dipple for the Big Gator?
No, I said it was going to be between Matt Shepard and Danny Johnson.
Yeah, okay. All right, very good, very good. We got Brad on the Brett Hearn train. Here's my picks for Volusia wins this week. I think, and what a story this would be. I think Matt Shepard comes right out of the box, guys, and I think he takes night number 1. I really do. What an exclamation point that would be for those guys if he could do that. So that would be night 1. Night 2, I think I'll go Brett Hearn. I think he does get one of them. He's always good at Volusia. I think Danny Johnson takes one, and we've seen how good he can be, so I'm going to go Danny Johnson on night number 3. Night number 4, and this one, I don't know, this one might surprise you, but I think they're showing tonight they've got the speed. They could really open some eyes, and they've had a lot of good news coming out lately. I'm going to go out on the 3-foot limb here, guys. I'm going to take Tyler Seary for championship night. We'll see if. Well, hey, honestly, I mean, showing the speed they showed tonight. I mean, there's no slouches there tonight in that hot lap session, and for those guys to post that kind of speed, I mean, if you could carry that out and run well, qualify well, get yourself a good starting spot in the feature, hey, anybody could take down one of these. Now, as far as the Big Gator's concerned, you're going to have to be consistent all week long. And I do think that, with the success they've carried over from last season, I do think Danny Johnson might just bring Chris Generelli home a Big Gator from Volusia. Guys, want to thank all of our guests tonight who joined us: Joe Tranka, Eric Wright, Jerry Simons, and, of course, Doug Smith joining us on the program. We'll be back next week with a all-star lineup on Turn 5 Live on the Performance Motorsports Network, the voice of motorsports.
Turn 5 Live is a copyrighted production of the Performance Motorsports Network. PerformanceMotorsportsNetwork.com is a member of the Scorpion Radio Group Incorporated and may not be rebroadcast, replicated, or saved in any media without the explicit written permission of PMN. The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host, co-host, and guest, and do not necessarily reflect those of the management and ownership of either the Performance Motorsports Network or Scorpion Radio Group Incorporated, the advertisers, or marketing partners. Thank you for listening to Turn 5 Live. You can listen to Turn 5 Live every Tuesday night right here on the Performance Motorsports Network. Stay tuned for more great PMN programming.
Searching for a world with some soul.